All right, hopefully I'm streaming live in the group to everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Meredith, and this is an episode of Business in Brief, which also doubles as an episode of Home-Based Business 101. So if you're joining me here live in the Facebook group, absolutely love seeing you here. Absolutely love connecting with all of the members of this growing group, which is amazing. And I'm so glad that you are all here with me. I always like to check, because I stream this onto my phone from Zoom. So I always like to check and see who's here with me. And if you are here with me, please go ahead, drop a comment. Let me know who you are. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you've got a business that you're starting, or if you have one that you'd like to start and you're looking for some help with that. So go ahead and just jump in when you do catch us here live. Hey, Annette, good to see you. It's always great when there's a friendly face joining us live here in the group. So tonight, what I wanted to talk about a little bit is the idea of starting a business from home and the top 5 really considerations that you want to make when you do go through the process of starting a business from home. And these may seem rather basic, I guess I would say, is probably the best description of them. But I cannot tell you how many people are starting businesses from home or businesses in general, and they're not putting the time in to consider just a few things before they really dive in and get started. And so I have people come into this group. About half of the people that catch this recording and catch me live, about half of them have a business, and about the other half are thinking of starting a business from home, or they want to up level what they've already got. And a lot of the time, the people that want to up level haven't done this initial work. And so when they sit down to do it, it's really enlightening for them. So I hope whether you've got a business, whether you're thinking of starting one, whether you're ready to make your business grow bigger, especially as we head into a huge fourth quarter, that's always a fantastic time for entrepreneurs and home-based businesses. I hope these tips are helpful for you. So got my notes here, making sure that I'm going through. Hey, Mike, it's always good to catch you too. Got my friends from Canada joining in. Love the international aspect of this group as well. We've got members that are, and fans that are like from everywhere, Australia, the UK, US, Canada, Mexico. It's awesome. So love having you all here. Okay, first thing that you want to consider is really about yourself. Taking a little bit of a look in the mirror and saying to myself, okay, what are my strengths? What am I really good at? And what do I like to do? Oftentimes people are thinking about starting a business because they do something and somebody's like, oh my gosh, that would make a great business. You know, maybe you make some like incredible brownies or something, or some incredible jewelry. Or my husband, for example, made this killer, I guess I would call it a table to hold my father-in-law's Weber charcoal grill, his barbecue. And this table he surrounded it with is amazing. It's like a place to put your supplies while you're barbecuing. It has these cool kind of retro hooks on the side. It's got this big handle, these big fat like caster type wheels. I mean, it's a work of art, and it's made out of beautiful wood. It took him forever to build the thing. And people were like, you should make these. You should figure out how to do something like this. And Chris was like, yeah, no, I don't know. This took way too long. So if you're that person that's got somebody saying to you, hey, you should do this more, you should do that more, ask yourself, like, do I even like this? Is this something that I would want to build a business around and spend a significant part of my time doing? Am I good at it? What do I like about it? What are my strengths? Also, what are the opportunities that are presenting themselves to me naturally? That's one of the ways that I actually ended up stepping into coaching, which I have been doing now. Gosh, my son is 9. So I've really actively been coaching for about 9 years. And it happened to me rather accidentally. The company that I worked for folded. I had resigned to stay home with my son, but the company folded, and a lot of the other executives went off to work at other companies. And so I started getting asked to do consulting with them. Hey, I have a friend that could use some help with marketing. Hey, I have a friend that could use some help with branding. Hey, I have a friend that could use some help, putting together the mission and vision and values of their organization or their nonprofit or whatever it was. And before I knew it, I was doing the work and I loved it. So then over time, it became, how do I turn this into a business? So if you're being presented with opportunities like that in your life right now, and they're coming to you naturally and you're having fun doing them, then that might be a great way for you to start a business that you're passionate about. So let's see else who is jumping in here. We've got Patty, we've got Rena joining us. Great to see both of you here. Love it, love it, love it. So also ask yourself kind of the flip side, guys and gals, of this strengths question. I'm going to be kind and I'm going to call them tendencies. So what tendencies do you have? Do you bite off more than you can chew? Like, just be honest with yourself. What are some of the pitfalls that are going to come up because you're you? And I'm not saying go down the road of beating yourself up. I'm just saying be really honest with yourself. Understand the things that you know may be pitfalls for you. Like, are you a procrastinator? Do you tend to make things more complicated than they need to be? Are you good at organization, or are you not so good at organization? You know, just really be honest with yourself. Take kind of a self-evaluation of where you are. That's the first thing that you want to do. And you want to make sure whatever business you start that you're going to love doing it, because this is going to be your baby for a long time. And so you want to make sure that you're going to have a good time, right? Who wants to do something that they don't like all day, right? That's why people want to start their own business, because they go to a job that they don't like all day long. So people step into new opportunities. Okay, next thing that you're going to want to consider is the type of business that you have. There are tons of different businesses out there. Most people that start a business from home are going to be doing probably something online. And isn't that amazing? I mean, that's one of the biggest things that has changed from my childhood to being an adult today, is that people that started their own businesses in the 80s and the 90s when I was growing up, that was largely a brick and mortar business. And starting a business was expensive. It was complicated. You had to have a lot of knowledge, you had to have a lot of things put together before you could even hope to make revenue. And now, thanks to the internet, all of us that are starting businesses from home, sharing our knowledge, sharing products, sharing services, we can put businesses together and launch them literally within a matter of just a few days or weeks, which is so incredible. But what type of business do you want to start? And learn a little bit about that type of business. If you're thinking about starting a restaurant, understand the pros and cons of that. If you're thinking about starting a brick and mortar retail shop, understand the pros and cons of that. Thinking about joining a network marketing, direct sales, affiliate marketing, thinking about doing something like that, thinking about popping up your own web store, thinking about selling your own goods on Etsy or Pinterest, thinking about being an Amazon reseller. What are the pros? What are the cons? What are you really getting into? How does it work? Understand the model that you're picking. So first step is understand you. Second is understand the model that you're picking. Okay, then yeah, Rena says procrastinating. Oh yeah, I'm there with you, right? You know, and people that procrastinate, just as a sidebar here, I actually learned that it's sometimes because what you're working on isn't challenging enough, and so in order to make it challenging for yourself, you wait so that it becomes harder. Isn't that crazy? So anyway, I digress. Third big thing that I want you to think about, third consideration when you start your business and when you're planning it, is to ask yourself, what is the big problem that this business solves? Not for you, but in the world. What is the big problem that you want to solve? Some of the most phenomenal businesses have been solved because somebody saw a problem, sometimes a very simple problem, and they found a way to turn that into a business. And I'll tell you two quick stories here that I love. One of them, Apple, right? They were making computers. Macintosh was being overtaken by IBM. They weren't popular anymore. Macs were kind of subpar to IBM. And then they came up with the idea of the iPod. And when they came up with the idea, this is like even is before iPhone, they came up with the idea of an iPod. And they were trying to find a big problem to solve. And one of the big problems to solve was, how can we help people make music more portable? That was the problem that they were solving. How do we go from the, remember those ghetto blasters, you guys? Oh yeah, walking down the street, those are arduous. Nobody's going to carry one of those, especially not now. It's heavy. I'm too lazy to carry that thing. but I want my music with me. I want to be able to listen to it. I want to have that experience. Music is such a big part of life. So what does Apple do? They figure out a way to put a ton of music on a tiny little square thing that you could put in your pocket, that you could tuck in your backpack, that you could do all this. I mean, so portable. I didn't even know that was a problem in my life, honestly. I did not know that it was a problem for me that I could not take my music with me everywhere until I saw other people taking their music with them everywhere. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I want that. That's a problem for me. I'm not able to do that right now. So I want one of those. So they actually created demand for something that people didn't even really think about it existing. But they identified a problem that they thought that they could put a business around, and look what exploded from that. I mean, now who doesn't have, and now we're moved into smartphones and all of the bells and whistles that we have there, right? We've got our phone, we've got the internet, we've got camera, we've got, all sorts of cool things, music, everything, all in this little device. And it all started with somebody trying to solve a big problem that way. The second one that I will tell you I saw, that I think is another great example of this. I saw it on Shark Tank a few years ago, and it was a gentleman that had designed a specific shovel for filling sandbags. It was post Hurricane Katrina. He had been trying to fill sandbags to shore up areas of a city that he lived in that was going to be greatly impacted by this hurricane. And using a regular shovel and having one person hold the bag and another person fill the bag, he was like, this is the biggest waste of time ever. We are never going to be able to fill enough of these bags in order. Can you hear the boy party going on in the background? I don't know if you can or not, but it's so fun to have that noise in the background for me, because it makes me remember why I'm doing this, why I'm here helping you. It's so, the more people that I can help focus on their family by being successful with entrepreneurship, just the better off. That's just, I'm so happy when I'm able to do that. And I'm so thrilled that I can hear that giggling in the background today too. So anyway, hopefully it's not distracting you all. So the guy, he made this shovel that you could put the bag onto the end of it. And it was kind of a device that he created. It was made out of a highly recycled, very durable plastic. So it was lightweight. I mean, he had thought of all of these things, and he took it on Shark Tank, and they were like, this is phenomenal. I mean, you are solving a significant problem that nobody thought about solving before. And I'm not saying that you have to invent a product. Both of those are kind of invention stories. But what's another problem that people have that you have the unique ability to solve? And how are you communicating that to the people that you're solving it for? That's a key component of what you're doing. So if you are going to start a brick and mortar and you want to start up a retail store, or you want to start up a restaurant, what problem is it that you're solving for people? I know I'm waiting for somebody in my town to put together a better event venue where we can host events and not have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to have fun and exciting events. There's not a lot of great event venues here. And the ones that we have are extremely priced. So that would be a great brick and mortar for somebody if they could solve that problem here in the city where I live. But what other problems are out there that your brick and mortar could solve? How does your restaurant uniquely solve a problem? How is it different from every other restaurant that's out there? Who are you solving this problem for? Because ultimately that's going to become your audience. That is going to become the people that you're trying to get in front of. So I know a good significant number of people that follow me here in this group and on this podcast are in the network marketing, direct sales, and affiliate marketing world. So you picked your business because your partner company does a whole lot of things for you, and you don't have to do all the heavy lifting for yourself, but you still have to figure out, what unique problem are you trying to solve for the audience that you want to serve? What is it, and why are they going to do business with you? We've all got to figure that out. Why is somebody going to pick you over every other option that's out there? Because I will pretty much guarantee you that even the guy that had this invention for this crazy shovel to fill the sandbags to, make sandbagging faster, there's another solution to that problem. It's one person holds the bag and the other person shovels it in. So there's already somebody solving the problem that you're solving, most likely. How are you going to solve it better? How are you going to do it better? Who are you going to serve? And how does that match with the structure of the business that you want to have? So the type of business, brick and mortar, online, and how does that mesh with number one, which is you, what you like to do, how you like to do it, what you're good at, what are your tendencies. All of this is the basics that when somebody just tells you, oh, you know, Sally, you make some darn good brownies, you should just figure out a way to start selling those. And then all of a sudden Sally's like, sure. And she goes online and she pays somebody to build her a website, and she finds a commercial kitchen where she can make these killer brownies, and she pays rent to the commercial kitchen, and she buys all the ingredients, and she buys the supplies, and she gets logos and stickers and packaging. And, you know, before she knows it, she's into this like $20,000 of, you know, brownie supplies. She starts going to the commercial kitchen, making the brownies, and she figures out, ooh, I don't really like making this many brownies. Like, this kind of sucks. This isn't fun. This isn't what I thought it was going to be like. I got to be in this commercial kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning, cranking out brownies because that's the only time I could get in here. So if you don't put the time in to consider a little bit longer down the road what the work is going to look like and how that meshes with your life and your lifestyle, then you might not be starting the right business after all. So I would consider all of those things first. Then I would start considering what I would call the traditional business planning. And we just ran an incredible challenge in the Side Gig Gurus group, which was super, super fun. It was called Step Up Your Side Gig, and it was a 5-day marketing challenge. And we actually went through the Side Gig Gurus marketing game plan, which is an awesome, awesome little ebook that I created that helps you go through each of the steps of really putting together a business and marketing plan. This is where you're going to get into topics like, what is my product? What is my cost for producing it? What is my net revenue on it? What is my mission? What is my vision? What are the values of my organization? What do my financials look like? How am I going to market? Who am I going to market to? How am I going to sell? What is that going to look like? How's my product or service going to be produced? How am I going to advertise? Like, those are all of the simple, just straightforward business plan type questions that eventually you're going to have to answer. But that's my fourth tip. Have a business plan, spend the time putting one together, spend the time going through and really penciling all of that out before you dive in too deeply and you're $20,000 deep in brownie supplies and you don't like to make brownies, right? I don't know if any of you guys can identify with what I'm talking about here, but this is really the truth of entrepreneurship. Take a deep breath and spend a little bit of time with I love pen and paper. I've got this new notebook, Life is a Peach. Spend a little bit of time with your pen and paper, journaling about this, writing your ideas down, envisioning what it's going to look like to run this business. Write down all your questions. What don't you know? What don't you know? What do you know? Who's already doing what you're doing and is doing it well? Do a little bit of market research. And market research doesn't have to be difficult, and it doesn't have to be hired out. Go find somebody who's doing what you want to do, who's doing it really well, and figure out how they're doing it. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. You can't copy, right? You can't take their stuff, but you can certainly learn from it. You can certainly learn from it. So please spend a little bit of time figuring these components out. And then tip number 5 that I have for you tonight is asking yourself, where do I need help? Where do I need help? So if you're the person that's going to open the restaurant, do you need financial help? Starting a restaurant is not inexpensive. Do you need to get a small business loan? Do you need to apply for that? What's that process? If you're starting a business from home, and you need to have a website built because you don't know how to do that, write that down. Figure out what you're going to do on your own, what you know how to do, what your strengths are, which is why we wrote those down in the beginning, and then figure out the gaps. What don't you know how to do? So when we opened my husband's barbershop 5 years ago, there were a lot of the pieces that we knew how to do, but one that we didn't know how to do, we launched a Kickstarter campaign to actually fund the opening of the barbershop. And Kickstarter requires that your business have some kind of creative expression. And so we were able to use Kickstarter because we argued that hairstyling is actually, in a sense, artistic, and that barbering, therefore, is artistic, and that we could put forward this Kickstarter to help fund the build out of the barbershop in the community on Kickstarter. So we knew that we had applied and Kickstarter had said yes, but neither my husband or myself had ever run a Kickstarter campaign before, ever. Not something we'd done. I understood how it worked. I understood the idea of it, but I didn't know how to do it. And so we needed help. And great Kickstarter campaigns have great videography. So we found a videographer who had already launched successful Kickstarter campaigns. And we had him help us write a script for our Kickstarter. Then I had another friend in advertising who was a fantastic help in helping us understand how to crowdsource, how to get enough attention around a business that didn't even exist yet, that wasn't even open yet. How could we get Instagram followers? How could we get Facebook followers? How could we build this thing up like a pre-launch and then layer the Kickstarter in so that it would actually be done before the building even opened? So we were able to pull that together, but it was because we asked for help. We asked for help. And that Kickstarter was a $10,000 Kickstarter. It funded in 7 days, and it actually ended up funding beyond the goal with an add-on. It maybe would have funded in the required 30 days if we had done it alone, but I don't know, because we wouldn't have had that great video. We wouldn't have had the insight into some of the marketing components that we just didn't understand. So I'm so thankful that we asked for that help. And that's one of the key things I would stress here with your success. We don't have to know everything, and it's okay to be humble. It's okay to say, wow, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to go find somebody who knows more than I do, and I'm going to find a way for them to help me. And of course, that plays into budgeting, and that plays into what's possible. So for example, videography is not inexpensive, but we needed that video to work in order for that Kickstarter to be funded. So we actually proposed to the videographer a pay for performance component in his contract. So we paid him a flat fee that we could afford. And then we said, but if this funds all the way, then, and if it funds to here, we'll pay you this much of a bonus. And if it funds to here, we'll pay you this much of a bonus. And if it funds to here, we'll pay you even this much more of a bonus. So now all of a sudden he's like, cool, my costs are covered. I'm making a little bit of money helping this couple make this video, but I'm also able to actually earn more if it works. So now he's bought into the idea that he's going to help us get this business off the ground. And it worked fantastically, because you know what he did? He went and shared the whole thing with his entire network to help us get more people on the Instagram and the Facebook, which allowed the Kickstarter to get funded. So finding ways to be creative when you're asking for help is super, super key here too. So yeah, Jennifer, totally agree. You know, finding out what you're passionate about and figuring out a way for that to work, absolutely paramount. You're not getting into business so that you can recreate a job for yourself. That's not what you're doing. You're here because you feel like there's important work that you want to do. It's largely tied to a longing that you have in your heart, maybe a problem that you have personally experienced, that your family has experienced, or not even a problem. In some cases, maybe it's something that you love and you want to be able to do more of it. So I have a friend in the Bay Area. We all worked for a travel company together. She has started an incredible travel company. She started it because she has a passion for helping people to see the world, because she knows she's from the UK. She's married to an American. No, she's not. She's married to a guy from the UK. They just happen to live in the States. But she knows that people's lives are changed if they get out and they see the world. And so she wanted to be the catalyst for that. Her passion for travel is so great. And I think it was either yesterday or today that she was able to take her first group post-COVID, or still during COVID, on one of her amazing journeys that she's put together. Her business has basically been closed for 20 months or so. No revenue. She went and found another job. She went and found other ways to make money. She got creative and did other things, but this was such a passionate thing for her that she came back to it, and it'll be successful again, no doubt, because she was passionate. And she also asked herself, what am I good at? What do I want this to be? What's the problem I'm trying to solve? These are just fundamental questions that if you spend the time answering them now, the success that you're going to have in the future is just so much significantly higher, your potential for success, than if you haven't done this. And I don't want to say that it's ever too late, because it's not. So even people that I have helped that have been in business for 10 years or more, that I worked with one woman who had been running her salon for probably about 10 years, highly, highly successful, but she wanted to take it to the next level. Entirely possible for you to do that too. It doesn't hurt to go back and ask yourself these questions now. If your business is already launched, what parts of it do you like? What parts of it don't you like? What is working? What isn't working? How do your financials look? Is the big problem that you set out to solve one that you're still solving, or are you solving something different? Be really honest with yourself throughout this entire process. There's not a lot of room in entrepreneurship for lack of authenticity. There isn't. It can be the most rewarding thing that you've ever done, but it can also be one of the biggest struggles that you're ever going to have. And so I'm giving you these 5 tips tonight because I really want you to understand that by spending time asking yourself these questions, take into account these 5 considerations that I've outlined for you, and then get moving on the plan, or get moving on the relaunch, or get moving on the next iteration of your business. So I think that's about everything that I had to share tonight. I'll check the chat. There's not any more questions or comments. If there are, please just drop them here. I just love being live with you all here, and love the fact that so many of you are going to catch this again on the podcast, Home-Based Business 101. If you are catching this and you're not already a member of our private Facebook community called the Side Gig Gurus, I would encourage you to join that. And I do also offer free 30-minute discovery sessions for people. You can just go to meredithbanka.com and click on the link to book a discovery call, and we can chat about your business. We can chat about where you are. We can chat about what it is you're looking for, and see if there's a way that I may be able to help you in those 30 minutes or beyond. So thanks again for catching this episode. Thanks for being you. Thanks for being brave and being an entrepreneur. We'll catch you again the next time. Have a good one, everybody.